In Mother Russia, question asks you. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm fat, I'm naked. It actually is kind of hot in here because I think we're getting real close to summer now. And this is obviously a naked blog, and we're of course naked here, not because it's sexy, because let's face it, I don't need to be naked to be sexy, but rather because we're being honest, open, and truthful. And the topics for these blogs, of course, are submitted by one Trisha Hirschberger, who probably looks a lot better naked than me now that I think about it, but it's not relevant. So, if you want to take part in these naked blogs, you should probably check out her channel. And there's a cat outside. I'm leaving that in the video. We're supposed to be honest and open here. Anyway, this week we're talking about annoying questions. So, one of the most annoying questions that's ever come up in my life is the why don't you questions. Like, for example, I'm standing here in a house bequeathed me by my mother, and I've had a number of people over the years say, "Richard, why don't you fix up your house and sell it?" Well, one, you're talking about $100,000 worth of work, and I ain't got that kind of money. Two, I need a place to live. Three, why would I do that in this market? Anyway, that was a dumb question generally posed by someone that wanted to make money off of me by billing me for remodeling my house. But I'll tell you, just the other day, somebody asked me one of those why don't you questions. It said, oh dear, give me a minute. Bad Nimbus. So as I was saying, somebody asked me one of those annoying why don't you questions. This fellow asked me, why don't you go to Philip DeFranco for help? This, of course, was completely out of the blue. I wasn't discussing anything with this person. They just randomly told my brother to ask me. Which, help with what? I mean, what could this person possibly do for me? But I'm going to assume that it has something to do with this YouTube channel. And, you know, I will admit this question is it's not that bad of a question. If you were a fan of Phil, you know that he's helped a number of good causes, and a lot of people have become famous YouTubers because of him. You know, that's certainly, I think Trisha Hirschberger may be one of them. But here, of course, is the thing that if you're the kind of person that's watched as much of Philip DeFranco's show as I have, you would know people ask him to help them all the time for no good damn reason, and it's probably as annoying to him as that question is annoying to me. Furthermore, I mean, yeah, okay, I've had an unpleasant life, but I mean, this isn't really a good cause. Why me and not someone else? It's one of those things you have to point out. It's like, why don't I go talk to Patrick Stewart? You know, I believe I could send him an email just as easily. I could find an email address for him just as easily as I could send one to Philip DeFranco. And why not ask him for help? Why not ask him to produce a film for me? Because the answer is he probably hears all kinds of requests for help from people he doesn't know and has no reason to help. That's one of those things. I mean, you look at that, you're like, well, I mean, if you thought about it and you knew about it, it would be you to understand why that's kind of an annoying question. And, I will tell you this much. In general, it's annoying when people tell me to ask people for help because, not just Mr. DeFranco there, but people in general. I hate it when I'm told to ask people for help because, like, for example, I knew a fellow who was an actor, and he said, you know what you should do? You should talk to my friend Corpsey. His name is Corpsey because he runs a magazine called Girls and Corpses. I've never read it, so I don't want to know. But Corpsey's like, yeah, so what is it that my friend wanted you to talk to me about? I haven't any idea. He just said talk to you. I don't know, dude. I said I would, so I'm doing it. And I emailed with this man. It seemed like a nice enough guy, but that was a waste of my time. And then I had a friend, my friend, the nun. She's my quasi-spiritual counsel if I needed one. And she referred me to another friend of hers who apparently worked on Desperate Housewives. And said, my friend Richard is a writer and was wondering if you could help him with a career in writing. And the response I got was, you should take these classes. And right there, what's the worry about that? You're telling me to go pay for something when what I want to do is make money. This is a problem. And the second thing about that is, look, I've taken classes on writing. I've gotten an A in almost every writing class for actual script writing or creative writing that I've ever taken. This is just one of those things. It's never gotten me anywhere. It's not the writing part I have trouble with. It's the selling it part. The finding somebody to buy the script part. The finding an agent to help me sell the novel part. That's what I have the trouble with. So this is the first thing. The second thing was she started talking about the novel I had sent her rather than the film script, which was connected with the novel. And I knew that it's like, look, you're somebody who does film. You would be talking to me about film if you honestly wanted to help me. And then the third thing was that this person said these classes are expensive, but you can try to get this scholarship. And I looked at the scholarship. And this scholarship, first of all, required me to fill out a FAFSA. Which, why would it require me to fill out documentation for student aid if it didn't intend me to have to get student aid? I mean, did nobody think of that one? And then the second thing is I would have to have gotten 2 letters of recommendation from other professors to have applied for this scholarship. So I looked at that and I thought, I don't think this is going to help me in any way, shape, or form. It's just more of the same. Then the final nail in the coffin there was that this was a scholarship for 3 classes. Not 3 units, not so many units at all, but 3 classes, and they had to be taken over 1 year. It couldn't be deferred. So let's just say I want to be a screenwriter. Okay? First semester I would take screenwriting 1. Second semester I would take screenwriting 2. And some other class, because the third semester would be in a new year. And I looked at this program, it has 3 levels of screenwriting. There is no way you can take all the classes because they're prerequisite to each other. So this was the last time somebody tried to get me help. And I tell you something, next time I speak to my friend, the nun, who I'm not sure if she'd want me to mention her name in this particular video, I will ask her not to have her friends try and help me in the future. Because what this meant was that, essentially, I was insulted, and if this woman had any sense, she'd be embarrassed. So, yeah, there you have it. There you have it. Two questions, really, one question that annoys me, really. Why don't you do X? Whatever X is. It's always ticked me off when somebody comes up with a why don't you do, and then there's nothing to it. Now, at this point, I'm supposed to come up with a question that Miss Hirschberger may select for her next Naked Truth. So, let me think for a moment. How about, what is the strangest thing someone's ever said to you? I think the strangest thing someone's ever said to me was, Richard, I think the audience really needs to see the Catfish Man. I'll let you chew on that one for a while. Please comment, like, maybe subscribe. I'm Richard.